As you may remember, last April, the Harford County Sheriff's Office filed charges against a candidate running for United States Senate. This candidate, Ryan Dark White, who is also known as Dr. John McGreevy, was arrested and charged with filing a false report, alleging a young girl was being trafficked at or from an adult bookstore here in Harford County. Mr. White claimed that the girl, who looked to be under the age of 12, was forced to participate in sex acts with male customers. He claimed this all happened at an adult bookstore he was employed at, again, here in Harford County. Filing a false report is a charge that is not often used by police agencies. However, in this case, when such serious allegations are levied and a tremendous amount of law enforcement man-hours are put into investigating the allegations, protests were organized against the business, and many members of our community and sheriff's office were professionally and personally attacked and demeaned, it was imperative that Mr. White be held responsible for his purposeful actions and his wildly false claims and accusations. I am happy to report to you today, with the assistance of the Harford County State's Attorney's Office, this case has been resolved. In working out an agreement to have the case placed on the STET docket, Mr. White voluntarily submitted an apology letter through his attorney. The first part of his letter reads, "On April 9th, 2022, I went to work at the Mistress. When I arrived at work, I noticed a young girl and an elderly male in the store near the ATM. I immediately recognized this as an opportunity to potentially obtain traction for my political career as I was running for the U.S. Senate." Mr. White admitted publicly in his apology letter that he fabricated the entire story, and he has issued an apology to the men and women of the Harford County Sheriff's Office and our Harford County community who were affected by his actions. As I said last April, and I will say again today, I'm beyond grateful that the young girl Mr. White claimed was being sexually abused is safe, and that the incident he claimed took place was just a fictitious story made up to attract attention for his campaign for political office. I am extremely disappointed in his actions, and that someone would attempt to discredit and disparage the work of the dedicated men and women of the Harford County Sheriff's Office, our Child Advocacy Center, and the primary investigator and his family. This fear-mongering caused wasted time and energy by our personnel, whose time would have been better served protecting the citizens of Harford County instead of investigating Mr. White's lies. Because of his actions, over 400 law enforcement man-hours were spent investigating his made-up complaint. This does not include the countless hours by our internal affairs investigators who received administrative complaints based on the false information Mr. White put out on his social media to his followers. Here are just a few clips of what Mr. White was telling his network of social media followers that on Friday he admitted in his letter were not the truth.
I was due to work a weekend shift, Saturday, 3 p.m. to midnight, and there was a girl in the back. She was 11 years old, and I went ballistic, and I went off on everybody. And then I really went off because I found out that her father and her grandfather had brought her in there to prostitute her out, because I was going to tear them apart, and then she told me who they were, and that would have just been harder on her. I got her, I know, in the back. She was in the booth section. She's 11, she told me. She was nude from the knees up, covered in semen. Got her covered, got her out back, got her away from those people. And obviously they've done this before because she wasn't worried about the 15 or 20 guys she had taken care of already. And they have people come in at 2 or 3 in the morning, they'll sit out back, and everybody has to pay cash. And they take them into the big theaters with one of these children, boy or girl. And they have like 3 or 4 hours back there where there's no cameras and the police are not going to come in.
These were just a few of the lies Mr. White concocted and spread to his followers on social media after he made these false claims to law enforcement officials. Mr. White is no more than the Jesse Smollett of Maryland, and he should be ashamed of himself for trying to use our criminal justice system to illegally gain fame or notoriety. Human trafficking and sexually abusing children are truly heinous crimes and extremely serious offenses. These false reports minimize these incidents and take resources away from investigating actual crimes, arresting actual criminals, and delivering justice for actual victims of crime. Again, I'd like to thank the hard work done by our personnel, including those at the Child Advocacy Center and our partners at the State's Attorney's Office in bringing this investigation to a close.